But during the show was definitely a highlight.
Yeah, one of the things that was fun about jurying it was how do two people pick their work anonymously and not influence each other. So we had a really good procedure, I think. She had a pink sticky note and I had yellow. And we just went through the room and we each selected our award winners. And when we each had a yellow and a pink on, we knew that that was a selection. So it worked pretty well. We liked that idea. We hadn't really done that before.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for doing this. And I'm going to share my screen and we will start with, and what we might do, I've got award certificates, and if the award winners won a cash award, I have those checks. So if they happen to be here in the room after you speak about their specific piece, then I'll stop you for just a minute so that they can come up to the stage and we can present them with their award in person. But let me share my screen here. Maybe. We did this earlier today, so I know it works. Oh, here we go. All right, is everybody seeing?
Oh, that's great.
Let's make sure we've got the slideshow. Okay, now I'll move the windows out of the way. Everybody online seeing this?
Are you ready for us to speak, or are we?
Yes, you.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. You start.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So combining whimsy with excellent technical facility and watercolor is not an easy task. And this artist is definitely telling a story about you know, like this is really the perfect kind of artwork that a viewer, a spectator wants to know what, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of meaning. What does it all mean? And are we able to figure out what the artist meant? So there's usually two things happening. There's what the viewer thinks is going on or interprets in the scene, and then what the artist, the artist's own intention was with painting the piece. And I think this has a lot of comedy and a lot of technical facility.
Yeah, and you know, the critics will come along and they'll try to tell you what it meant. But it was nice to read the artist's statement. That was, you sent us one PDF that had their statements, and I really enjoyed reading all of those statements because it was nice to hear from the artist. But what I love about this is, even though it's so representational, can we go back?
Sorry, there we go.
Yeah, even though it's so representational, the design elements are wonderful. It's such a lovely repetition of verticals with a minor horizontal to stabilize it, and straights against curves. And I just really appreciate that when I squint my eyes and take the recognizability out of it.
Thank you for that. That was an honorable mention by Ken and Stephanie, and the painting is by Brian Paulson and called Small Town Parade. And Brian is not here tonight. I believe he's in North Dakota where he lives.
Hope he didn't get into an accident. Oh, well, this is Liz Walker's piece, and it's just wonderful texture. Once again, I'm big into design, and I just love the way she has manipulated the size of the shapes along with the texture, and that rectangle with the dark against the light just attracts my eye, and my eye just takes a visual journey throughout, just bouncing from texture to texture like a kitten on a ball of yarn.
So this is one of those pieces where abstraction and realism collide. And I don't think that is necessarily so easy to do. And I think Liz was able to really pull this off. She's got a great color harmony happening, and there's a lot of action and texture on the surface. And the painting, even with this bird being almost smack dab in the center, there's still so much other activity happening along the edges and the corners that the composition is just really working.
And I love the way, you brought the lightest light against the darkest dark right next to the center of the bird's head. And it just really allows us to see one as the guest and the other as the host.
Well, plus, not only that, look at it, the shoulders of the woman reaching for the bird. One shoulder is very much light against dark. It's got all the action. Yeah. And the other shoulder is very passive. Like here, you can really see that the artist is really paying attention to the message and the meaning that is being conveyed here in this painting.
And it's very painterly at the same time.
And that painting, for those of you in the gallery, if you look toward the back of the gallery on the wall where you entered, Liz's painting is back there. And Liz, I know you are online. I can't see you right now with sharing, but congratulations to you. Liz won the Meininger Art Supply Merchandise Award for this piece. All right, next up is Lorraine Watry. Lorraine is here tonight somewhere. Where'd you get? Lorraine's right in front of me. Spanish dancer. I'll let the two of you talk about this. Lorraine won the Golden Artist Colors Merchandise Award.
Stephanie wants me to start since I have
the Birdman.
I have a background in ornithology, and one of the things I love about Lorraine's work is she really gets it right. I'm pretty critical when it comes to anatomy, since I used to work at the Natural History Museum and did taxidermy, and I have done Allen's hummingbirds before, so I know them inside and out. You did a wonderful job. It's kind of Muybridge meets the kingdom of nature. So I love the movement that you got, all the different, you get that sense of a lemniscate, which is the way a hummingbird hovers. They do that figure 8, and I think it's just a lovely use of hard edge against soft edge, wonderful watercolor technique.
Yeah, there's nothing I can add to that. I agree with all of it. Hummingbirds are amazing. We watch them all the time. I plant flowers in the garden just to attract hummingbirds. So Lorraine, congratulations. You did a fantastic job on this painting.
Nice secondary, secondaries, and it's a nice complementary color scheme, secondaries.
Thank you for that. And Lorraine's up here. This is for you. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. All right. Next up is Gina Judy. I think I saw Gina Judy online. If you're there, Gina, wave. We don't have the gallery view, but I think you're there.
Thank you.
Oh, is she? Can you see it? This piece is called Sunny Sully at Attention, and it is on the back wall of the gallery in that corner that I'm pointing to. And Gina won the M. Graham and Company Merchandise.
We both love this painting. This is, she has completely captured the essence and personality of this happy dog. And I think, it even looks like the dog is smiling. The shadow is fabulous, the way it leads you into the painting, along with the leash and the cars in the background, and everything. There's just a lot of distance with the dog being very much in the foreground, and then everything behind and the way it goes back in the painting, back. I think this is, who doesn't love a dog painting? And this is so well done.
Yeah. Compositionally, just wonderful overlapping, and I can't say too much more. Your eye just jumps right into it and explores, and I just think you really hit it out of the park with the way you rendered this dog.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, I keep turning my microphone off so I won't be buzzing. Thank you for that one. So next up is, and Pat, I butcher your last name every year. Pat has been accepted at least the last 3 or 4 years that I have been here. Pat, you explained it to me one year. Mosuk, I think. Pat is in California, and I don't know if she's online tonight or not. This piece, Ancient Pathways, won the Gyrie's Merchandise Award.
Yeah, what a wonderful example of the elements and principles of design. I mean, it's just lovely, the dominance of cool colors, the dominance of straight edges, the dominance of squares. And then you have these little accents of warmth in it. The little red, it would have to, that you take that red out of the upper left-hand corner and the thing falls apart. So, I mean, it's almost Zen-like in the way it's put together in my estimation. I just think it's a wonderful, I love non-objective work. I mean, it's just, everything, even representational work, is based on it. So why wouldn't I guess?
So this is, in terms of shape making, this has so much variety of shapes. And then with the addition of that round, that partially round circle up there on the right-hand corner to break up all those squares everywhere. And then like a tipped cup on the edge, it looks like it's about ready to fall. And then the addition of letters and scribbles and writing. Lots of different shapes and marks. It's kind of reminds me of a blue jean tapestry, and it just, congratulations, Pat. This is a fabulous painting.
And all the small things are so subordinated to the larger shapes, so you kind of get away with having all kinds of textures, and subliminally we appreciate that, but at the same time we're not distracted by it at all.
Well, the red isn't just in that upper left-hand corner. It's down kind of at the bottom.
And even in the center.
It just, so there's just a lot of, it's not easy to do one of these because you have to be paying attention. As an artist, you have to be really observant as to what's happening on the surface. And I think as an abstract painter, you have to be even more observant because it's all about the surface and abstraction in every little minute space. So,
and where the heck do you know when to stop? Because you could just keep on experimenting. Wonderful.
Thank you for that. Next up is Beatrice Trotman, lives in Morrison. She is the current president of the Colorado Watercolor Society. Am I right on that, Stephanie? Not anymore. She just came off of. She is the ex-president of the Colorado Watercolor Society, but she's not here tonight. She and her husband are celebrating their anniversary in Hawaii. But Beatrice's piece in Joshua Tree won the Foothills Art Explorer Award, and it's on this back wall over here that I'm pointing at.
Well, lucky Beatrice. Now, who hasn't seen cholla cactus being lit by the sun? It looks, when it's lit by the sun, it looks soft and fuzzy and you want to go touch it. But if you've had any experience with cholla, you better not touch it. You'll never get that little sticker out of your finger. What I love is how she's created, so, I've often seen cholla and thought, God, that's so fabulous, the light on the rim. I'd love to paint that, but I never would attempt to paint cholla. And the fact that she painted cholla so successfully and put those puffy clouds back there and the mountain, I mean, it's so unorthodox to pick a subject like this and paint it the way that she did. So my big congratulations to Beatrice on this subject matter.
And, I don't know if she actually went thorn by thorn. I don't know how you could if she did, but it sure has the illusion of cholla. And I just agree with everything Stephanie said. I don't think I can add too much more. I mean, the cool background and the warms coming forward, it's just luscious.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. The next up is Soon Warren's piece. It is right here as you.
And he's getting the prize. Oh, watching live. Santi is getting the prize on the painting.
We're listening. I think somebody may not be muted right now. But Soon Warren's piece is called Fairy Future Sunflower, and she won the Chief Joe's Art Stuff Award, the Merchandise Award for this piece.
I don't know what to say about this, except it is so unbelievably luscious. I feel like I've never seen a sunflower before until I saw Soon's painting. She has captured the essence of everything that goes on with a sunflower seed, from its generating and to its full growth and to its falling out and falling over. The life of a sunflower seed. I love sunflower seeds, and just the repetition. This is, you know, if you blow this up, if you look really, really close, it reminds me of a Chuck Close portrait. Because if you look at a Chuck Close portrait, every single square in a Chuck Close portrait has something in it. It's different from every other little thing. And if you look at this up close, every little shape is different from every other little shape. So I think this is a masterpiece of color and just concept in terms of a sunflower, making it so completely different than a Van Gogh, because normally if you think of a sunflower painting, you think of a Van Gogh. And now I think when I think of a sunflower painting, I've got to put Susan Warren's in there as well.
Yes, you really got a life cycle going. And I just, you know, the one little grand fresh sunflower coming up against the red, the bright green against the red, I think it adds a nice counterpoint to all the busy shapes everywhere. And then suddenly you have a little bit of actual formation. So I think it's a wonderful piece. I didn't really even think of it as a sunflower when I first saw it. I thought of it more as a color field. And, you know, once again, the beauty of the secondary color scheme, you know, the green and violet and orange. So anyway, it's beautiful, and I second everything Stephanie said.
Wonderful.
This to me should be the theme of the Rockies.
Of the Rockies?
Hold on for a second. We got to go back to where we.
Oh, the next one. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
Andrew is here tonight. Andrew, where'd you go? He was here. There he is. Andrew Barker is from Boulder, and his piece is on this wall right as you walk in the door to your left there. This was the piece that was selected to be the cover image for this year's Rocky Mountain National Watermedia catalog cover. And Andrew won the Blick Art Materials Merchandise Award for this piece of Bloom and Indigo. Now go back to the Rockies.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, if it hadn't been put on the cover, it should have been. You know, you've got the buntings and the bighorn sheep and the wonderful prickly pear cactus, but it's all stylized in a kind of rocky way. You know, it's very kind of what's that big green monster? He's very angular.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's just I just love the way you kind of detailed the planes of the forms, and you've kept the neutral colors with just these few accents of red and green. So it's basically makes the colors sing.
Yeah, in terms of an image, a watercolor, an illustration, concept, meaning, he put everything in here. This could be a fabulous poster or billboard to sell what you can see and experience in Colorado. And it just is absolutely so refreshing to see something that is realistic but completely designed out as well. And congratulations to Andrew on such a fabulous piece.
And that bristlecone pine branch back there really adds something.
Thank you both for that. We'd love to have Andrew come up to the stage with his certificate. Congratulations to you. Thank you so much, Andrew. Next up is another artist who I know is here tonight, Kathy Crowther. I think she's still here. Are you still here, Kathy? There you are. Her piece is over here to my right, to most of your left on this temporary wall. It is called Spring Lotus, and we have moved now into our cash awards. And Kathy gets the first cash award. It is the John and Pandora Erlinson Award. John and Pandora were here tonight. I don't know if they're still here, but many thank yous to them for sponsoring this award.
This painting was actually a big surprise to see in person. So it was fabulous as we saw it as a digital image and the design and the concept, but then to see it in person where the artist has incorporated the mat into the painting. And I think that's really a successful way to complete an idea, is to add the mat or add the frame and make it a complete and total statement. It's just a beautifully painted and illustrated. I forgot the name of this bird.
Oh, it's a great blue heron.
Oh yeah, we stuffed one of these, and so we both have a great fondness for great blue herons.
Yep. That's when we first met. That's what one of the first things I knew. She was my gal. She could go through the process of mounting a great blue heron.
Yeah, we could dissect stuff, pull out the innards, and stuff a bird with the best of them.
We must add, while we were vegetarians at the time. Anyway, I can't say too much more other than it is a great way to break the picture plane, the vignette. You know, it makes it a little more decorative. I love the violet and yellow complementary color scheme. I think it works really well. Just great harmony with this, great design, and it's almost like a ukiyo-e Japanese floating world print in a lot of ways meets the West. Lovely.
Wonderful, thank you. I'd like to ask Kathy to come up here and get her award. Next up is another artist who is here tonight, Sarah Dignan. I know many of you are art teachers, but we've got art teachers in the house. Sarah Dignan actually taught my younger son art in middle school. So congratulations to all of the teachers, and thank you for all that you do. Sarah's piece is called Ricky Tiki Tabi a la Mucha. For those of you that know Alphonse Mucha, who is sort of the king of Art Nouveau, this is in that style. And she won the Cherry Creek Framing Award. And we'll let Ken and Stephanie talk about this piece.
Well, I grew up on Ricky Tiki Tabi and I have one of the original Jungle books. And as a child, I just loved this story. Always being a nature lover, I've always been fond of the whole thing of how a mongoose can get the better of a cobra. But design-wise, it is Munka. I mean, it's just so well designed with the way the tail overlaps that section in the back, and there's the busyness of everything, but at the same time, it's all tamed down by this continuous white line, and that cool background just sets off the warm foreground so nicely, and everything is rendered out so well. And just I don't know, it's just a lovely concept overall.
It is, and especially what's nice is I can see it's inspired by Mucha and not copied from a Mucha, or and so she obviously spent time looking at Mucha's work, and then how can I bring some of those elements into my own work, my own storytelling, and especially with a subject like this with Ricky Tiki Tabi. I mean, Mucha didn't really do animals in his work, but I think this is so successful. It's fun to look at. It would make a great book cover, or I don't know. It's a fantastic painting.
Just one quick thing. I teach figure drawing and gesture. One of the things that I love so much about the way the back leg of the mongoose runs right through to the front leg. If you look at that white line, that's part of the reason there's so much of a flow and so much energy there. And it's echoed by the belly is echoed by the back, and the back is echoed by the large arch behind it. And then there's the cobra just breaks it all up. I mean, it's just a wonderful composition.
Thank you for that. I would love for Sarah to come to the stage and get her award. Thank you. Okay, next up, I don't think he's here. He's from Quincy, Illinois. It's Robert Meyer. Robert is an art professor. So we have teachers, we have professors, the whole gamut of educators. And he won the Rome Chelsea Award for his piece, Lifeline. And it is in the back of the gallery, the back wall on your left, on the wall that comes out toward us, if you want to see it in person.
I think this is one of those paintings that if you see his work, that you can study all the time to look at how can I make every single space different from the space next to it. So he's got so many different shapes, so many different colors, and yet they all are working harmoniously together. The line qualities are different. The width of the line are different. They come and they go. I love how this white line comes in and then it wraps around and turns into a circle, which has a curly Q in it, and just the box, the X's, everything about it. You know, if you have a piece of artwork like this in your collection, you like looking at it all the time, because every day you look at it, you're going to see something different that maybe you didn't notice before. And I think that's really what's powerful about really good artwork, is that when someone owns it, it's special, because every time you look at it, it's special. You look at something that you didn't look at before. And I think Bob's work has a lot of that going on.
And the dominance of red with these little accents, and the dominance of that large red shape against the small shapes. And it's just a masterwork in variation in line. I mean, you've got the dark line, you've got a light line, you've got dashed lines, you've got jagged lines, you've got circular lines. You have every imaginable. I mean, if you were teaching the elements of design and how to add variation to it, this would be a wonderful tutorial. Same with color, but I could go on. There's no more time though. It's just wonderful.
Great. I'm going to ask everybody real quickly to mute if you aren't muted online. We're getting a little bit of feedback from somebody. And Bob Meyer, we're thrilled that you are on the Zoom. Thank you for that. And thank you for this beautiful piece of artwork. And I'm going to go back here in just a second. Just had to get everybody muted. Bear with me. And many thanks to Ken and Stephanie. I'll say this at the end, but it is so generous of you to give of your time and your insight. And I know everybody here and all the artists are so appreciative of you taking the time to talk about each of these pieces. So thank you so much for that.
You know, one more thing I want to say about Bob's piece is, and it had to do with this stair element that he has that goes on. So, you know, I mean, that's really interesting. You have the stairs in the lower left, like going upstairs, and then you have upside down stairs right up there in the center. And then you have that other repetition of stairs right on the other side in the blue. I mean, there's just like these kind of paintings are real meditations that anybody could, you know, you think maybe it's easy. It's not easy. This is not easy.
Wonderful, thank you. We're gonna move on. I think Chris Propinski is here. Are you here, Chris? I know she was planning to be here. Oh, she's on Zoom. Hello on Zoom, Chris. This piece is called Put a Different Spin on It. It's on the back wall of the gallery back there. Chris won the Evergreen Physical Therapy Specialist Award for her piece.
Chris, your work just keeps on evolving. It's amazing how the same sort of a theme of still lives just keeps metamorphosing. It's a series of I don't know how many hundreds you've done of these, but every time I see them, I'm amazed at the way you're just all about design, and it comes through loud and clear, even though you're using tangible representational fruits and pots and vases and all of that. Your work is just so well designed and just so well rendered. I don't know what else I can say. It's just award-winning work.
I think too, this is really refreshing in terms of a still life. To have, you know, normally in a still life, you might see an object more where you see the outside of the object from, you know, as a viewer would, but this is like an aerial perspective. You're looking down at this dish, and it really is about the swirl of this glass dish. And it's, you know, it almost could make your head spin because the swirl is so dynamic in terms of a composition. So that, you know, that is really different to see this kind of a composition. And then of course, I mean, the rendering of the grapes, you know, I mean, they're so rendered out, you feel like you could just go up and pick one and eat it. You know, congratulations on that kind of rendering of fruit and a successful design composition of a swirl of a glass, that the dish glass that the fruit is sitting in. Very, very original, very unique, a very, very successful painting, and especially the color palette too. An unbelievable color palette.
And the sense of transparency in the glass too, the way you've been very faithful to the way glass would alter a dark object behind it and under it. Wonderful.
Thank you for that. Chris, congratulations.
Yay.
Oh.
Next up is Stacy's piece. It is called Winter Warm. This was the Woden Woods Incorporated Award. And I don't think Stacy's here. I believe she's in Maryland. Anybody see her online? We'll let Ken and Stephanie talk about it.
Yeah, this is just what a wonderful title. I mean, it feels very cold to me, but with that glow of the sun, I think that she really did such a great job of bleaching out the trees in front of the brightness of the sun. That's the best way to catch the idea of, I guess, bright light in a lot of atmosphere, a lot of dense atmosphere of mist and snow. And it just really captures a feeling of peacefulness. And it's rendered so beautifully. The shadows are just the right color, the right value. It just completely, it just gives you a feeling of solace. I don't know what else to say about that.
Well, it totally captures the feeling of winter warmth. And I agree with Ken and want to just really talk about the control of values in working with such a light, it's a high key color palette, and to have such extreme control of her values. So this artist did not go with a dark, which normally you would want to go with a dark. Yeah, there are no darks, which is how she's maintained this feeling of morning warmth, you know, in a very cold snow scene. It is so unbelievably successful. I think this is really hard to pull off.
The only darks are a few little accents that would be the perfect way that a professional would treat a painting to give the finishing touches. But overall, it's a very high key, lovely painting with just loads of experience and control.
Wonderful. Congratulations to Stacy. Next up is Shanti Kumar, and her painting is Heirlooms, and it is the Colorado Watercolor Society Award. And we will let Ken and Stephanie talk, and then we'll welcome Shanti to the stage.
Well, this is a gorgeous painting of strawberries and lace. I think there's the vase. There's so much control in being able to paint with black, and then, you know, with just this really very select color palette. And yet the glass has these very subtle colors that she's added. It's not all just white. There's little bits of green that are bouncing around from the green in the strawberries. the lace is unbelievably rendered. So for a really, a hyper realistic painting, it doesn't get much better than this in terms of being able to use watercolor to this degree of finish.
This is really a great piece to follow up the prior piece, because whereas that was a high key, this is a full key. You go from dark to a light with strawberries being middle tone, and it's a kind of a Caravaggio lighting or a Rembrandt type lighting, but it's done in a very contemporary way. And I agree with Stephanie, the nuances of color that you can see bouncing around in that lace and in the glass is just wonderful. Just wonderful.
Well, thank you for that. Congratulations to Shakti. We'll have her come to you too. And the YouTube is currently covered by the screen, so at the end of our presentation, we'll raise that screen and you can see her painting on the center stage up here. Next up is an artist named Jerry Smith. Jerry is from Crawfordsville, Indiana, and Jerry's piece, Rocky Rhythm, won 5th place. We're now moving into, so up to this point, all of the cash awards that have been sponsored were $250 awards from our sponsors in town. We're so grateful for all those award sponsors. We are now moving into our $500 award level, and Houdin Wealth Management and Evergreen sponsored this award. 5th place for Rocky Rhythm for Jerry Smith.
Well, I don't know if this was painted plein air, but it sure looks like the brush strokes of a plein air painter. The looking at it close up, which was a treat. It's always a treat to see his work because I've seen it in other exhibitions. It's just so beautifully painterly, and his compositions are always wonderful. The little boat and the distance, it leads you into the painting much the same way some of the early masters used to put a little rabbit with a cottontail on the back and lead you in. I'm thinking of Millet in particular, used to do that sort of thing. But the light in the foreground with the warmth, and then that cool mass of land in the back, and the atmosphere of the sky with the warmth along the horizon, even though it's also painterly and such brusque kind of strokes, it all works well, and there's an overall softness. I just think it's a wonderful landscape.
Yeah, I love the looseness that this artist captures with the landscape, and yet as the viewer, I keep getting drawn to that little village where so much care and attention to detail was made to, paint those buildings, the little high points, the shadows, a window. It's like, oh my, even, how the water comes underneath some kind of landing. I mean, there's so much activity going on in that little village area, and it's just surrounded by a massive loose landscape. It seems like it was haphazardly dashed in the way it was painted, and yet here we have this careful, very careful visual rendering of the little village and the pylons and all the little things that make up where people would be at. So it really is like a landscape that depicts where people are in the landscape and where they are not, because they don't spend a lot of time in all this rocky area up in the front, but back there where all those little buildings are and where the boats meet the what is this thing? The pier.
Yeah.
That's where all the action is. And so I love that he painted it that way. And my hat's off to him. I think that's really, really successful.
Definitely not haphazard either. The strokes are loose, but very calculated, like a Degas pastel.
I see here that Jerry Smith is also a Rocky Mountain signature member, and so obviously I can see why.
Thank you for that. Congratulations to Jerry. The next piece, something I failed to tell all of you, you know this, it goes without saying, but all of this artwork is for sale. I sold this piece tonight. So I've sold 4 pieces so far this evening. Artists I will reach out to if you are online or not here, I'll let you know. But please come buy art as well. It's our most favorite part of our job is getting to sell art by talented artists. So please know if you have a spot in your home, even if you don't have a spot in your home, you can make a spot in your home for all of this beautiful artwork. But this painting won our 4th place award. It's the Pat Rucker Best Abstract Award. Pat Rucker is a very dedicated and longtime member of our Rocky Mountain National Watermedia Committee. Pat was involved way back when at Foothills Art Center when the Rocky Mountain National Watermedia show was created. We are so grateful to her for all of her support over the years. And here Pat sponsors an abstract. Ken and Stephanie chose Roberta Dyer's piece Between the Dark and the Daylight. And I will let you all talk about this piece. And anybody online, please mute if you're not muted. Thank you.
Are we ready?
Ready.
Yeah. No, this caught me the minute I walked into the room. And one of the things, if you cover that red dot, it falls apart. So everything in this painting needed to be there. And the variation between, well, the repetition between the 2 vases, but at the same time having repetition in size, you know, they're very similar, but they're different. You have the dark against light, you have light against dark, you have all this middle tone working, and then you have these accents of light. It's just wonderful, wandering line work, exploratory, very intuitive, lots of great textures. You've got the kind of half-tone textures on the gray that look pebbly, and then you've got that solid opaque texture on the Naples yellow center. And then the roundness of that vase just sets off the straight lines everywhere. Especially also the little scribbles have a nice round quality to set off the straights.
Yeah, and I think this is really courageous art making. So to you know, like, how do you start when you are going to paint something like this? Do you put a cup out? Do you put a cup? And I mean, do you look around and just see a shape and add it? You know, how do you know not only how to start, but when is it finished? And I think that it takes real professionalism as an artist to be able to finish, to know when a painting is finished, when you're working abstract.
Katie's younger than you.
So I have to say big, huge congratulations to Roberta on creating such a fabulous abstraction. I know we were both really drawn to it. And one of the things I just want to point out that I love is that line, that black line that kind of goes down the center, that goes on the gray and then on top of the light. And I just think that is such a great example of dark on medium, this middle line right here.
Yeah.
And then what a dark on light looks like. It's just fabulous painting with values.
You could look at this for a long time.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. For those of you that are in the gallery, when it comes to hanging a show, you will notice that I very intentionally hung this piece where I did on the stage. The reason being, as artists, we spend a lot of time finishing the edges of our canvas. And I think this was masterfully finished because that orange dot on the front of the painting, if you come around to the side, you will see that Roberta continued that orange in the finishing of the sides of the canvas. And it brings you into the painting. You could hang this anywhere in your house and experience this on different planes of existence. So come up and check that out afterwards as well. Congratulations to Roberta.
Okay, so were you going to introduce this piece?
Yes, I'll do that. So this is, okay. I don't think Cindy is here tonight. Cindy's from Palisade. Is she here? I don't think so. Cindy Brabeck King created this piece. This is the El Rancho Award. And this piece is called Ivory Towers. It's up here on the stage. And now I'll let you two talk about it.
Well, I love everything about this piece. The composition is phenomenal, and you have the straights, the curves, and that S curve of the staircase that really just, it's so elegant. Here you have these industrial shapes, and even with that trash can, but it's painted so elegantly that normally, I think if you see something like this in the landscape, you wouldn't attach the word elegant to these shapes. And yet with this painting, it not only is it elegant, it is it has a feminine nature to it. And so I think with that S curve, she's found a way to feminize brutal industrial shapes. And I love the color palette. It's very harmonious. It's such a fantastic painting.
Yeah, I agree with everything she said, especially the S shape contrasted against the barbed wire. And everything is paintable in life. To me, everything is a form of nature and can be beautiful if you portray the top planes and side planes and bottom planes correctly. I think that this is a perfect example of how that can be done. The values are just wonderful. You go from that dark to middle tones to lights, and I think that I would not have known this was her piece. I've seen still lifes before. I've juried still lifes into shows before, and now that I see who the artist is, I'm surprised and really pleased to see how well she can tackle anything.
Great, thank you, and congratulations to Cindy on this piece.
Next are you going to introduce this one?
Sure. Next up is Randy Hale. Randy is here tonight. Randy used to teach watercolor for Center for the Arts, and we're working on getting him back here to teach a workshop for us. He's a fabulous artist and a wonderful teacher as well. This piece is called The Landing. It won second place, and the award is sponsored by Alexa Interiors and Mountain Home.
Well, probably a lot of you are familiar with Whistler's Nocturnes, where he did these wonderful scenes of bridges. This is not a nocturne, but it has that same verticality that I love so much in a Whistler painting. But what I especially like about this is the discipline of using neutrals with just a few touches of higher key chroma colors. And especially if you look at how the bridge disappears into the bottom with a few spots of shots of water that, give it some variety, but your eye doesn't really go down there. What your eye does is it hits that piece of light, goes to the cool blue buoy, and then goes to the red on that boat. It kind of hangs out in that center point, and then the rope touching the water, and then the reflection of the water leading back. My eye just circulates through this painting so wonderfully. I would like to look at it for so long that I might not like to go to the next painting. And that's the idea of a successful painting, is to circulate the viewer's eye and not let them go.
I agree with everything Ken said. That buoy really grabs your attention, and you look at the vertical line of the buoy, and then right to the left of it is a diagonal line, and the composition is phenomenal in terms of its abstract quality. If this was just an abstract painting with no recognizable shape, it would be absolutely successful.
Yeah.
One of the things I particularly like is that, a lot of hardcore realism, a lot of people say, oh, I don't do realist painting, only realist painting are getting into shows. That is not true. This is a beautifully painted watercolor. His use of watercolor, like Ken said, the way that the bridge just disappears into the water, the water itself, the horizontal aspect of the water, the reflection of the boat, the way that wire hits the water and the shadow off of that. Everything about this painting is loosely applied, confidently stroked watercolor painting. And the distance of those mountains and those other boats way in the background, this is hugely successful.
Yeah, you could just see this as a little thumbnail study. And when you would see the thumbnail study, you say, oh, I got to get to work on the final. This is just too good to be true. It's just a wonderful composition.
Well, thank you for that. I'm going to have Randy come up to the stage. Okay, we have two more. The next up is our first place award. We've entered a slightly different category now. Every year, the CAE Board of Directors, we have a very supportive Board of Directors, and our Board of Directors and past Board of Directors members all pool contributions that they personally make for our first place or our best show award, depending on who wins the collection of money each year. So this year, our Board of Directors raised $1,450 for this first place award. And this goes to some of our own hometown artists. Olga and Alexei Ivanov are a husband-wife duo who paint together. They are here tonight. This piece is called Amethyst Night, and it won first place.
I would like to know who painted what. But you know, I'm sure that that's probably a mystery, but having done egg tempera myself, when I first saw it, I thought, oh my gosh, must be an egg tempera. And sure enough, it turned out to be one. And you just have to hand it to somebody who can not only do wonderful egg tempera, but the drawing is, I see Russian names, so maybe it's Russian education. The perspective and proportions on the head and on the eagle are just exactly right. I mean, pardon me? The owl, of course. The owl are just right for 3/4 view. And I just love that. I love the purple dominance with the accents of yellow. I don't want to say it all. You go
Okay,
ahead.
well, you know, one of the things that this show, the artists that, you know, submitted to this show and that we selected, every piece really has in common is the composition and design, the abstract quality of the composition being so completely successful, despite the fact that the subject matter is recognizable or not. And this is another one where this mountain is so designed out. Yeah. It's completely designed out, and the sky is designed out. The city on this shirt sleeve is real. It's incredible to see. Like, I don't know if that was really like that or they incorporated that. However it was, it's a fantastic idea. I think I'm gonna steal it. And just the beautiful use of egg tempera. If anybody's used egg tempera, you know how complicated it is. It's a difficult medium. And everything about this painting is just beautiful. It's not easy to do figures. We're both figure painters. And this one is totally and completely successful. So congratulations.
And look at the little amethyst bracelet.
Yeah, amethyst bracelet. And, you know, he's an ornithologist. So if the bird wasn't done right, you know, it would.
And actually, I think it's an eagle owl.
It's beautiful.
That's why I thought it was an eagle.
Yeah. Anyway, congratulations. It's a fabulous piece.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's a husband and wife team. I didn't know that. Everybody else seemed to know it, but I was late coming to that party.
If you do find out who did what, I'd just be curious.
Yeah, text us over.
They actually say, they just say, well, we've been married for so many years that it just worked. It's their secret. But I would love to invite all that and like to the stage to get their award. All right, and that piece is right as you walk in the gallery, you'll see that right in front of you. It just glows from the outside in, so make sure you check that out. Okay, we have arrived at our Best in Show. Thank you all for your attentive listening. Best in Show, this artist traveled here tonight with her family from Boise, Idaho. L. Michelle, I don't even know what the L stands for. Laura. Laura Michelle is new to CAE. She's, I don't know, have you ever entered Rocky Mountain National Watermedia? Never entered. Laura is an art teacher, yes, and a practicing artist in her own right. The Rocky Mountain National Watermedia Signature Member Award, what is very special about this award is that all of the signature members are presented with the opportunity to donate whatever amount they'd like to create this award. So signature members from all over the country that donate from their own personal funds to create this and honor one artist in the show. So this award came in this year at $2,245 for our Best in Show. The piece is called Recollection. You will see it the minute you walk in the gallery, and we'll let Ken and Stephanie talk, and then we'll welcome Laura and her family to the stage.
One of the things as jurors that we look for in terms of Best in Show, because that is really the hardest piece to pick. When you have so many paintings that are so highly qualified. And one of the things it gets down to is presentation. This painting had every aspect of presentation was a 5-star. There wasn't one thing about how the painting was submitted, presented, framed, everything about it was perfect. And in terms of an image, this is phenomenal. It is such an unusual abstraction mixed with realism. Like you can't, first it seems like it's just an abstraction, but you cannot miss the fact that that's a landscape. And you know, I have to hand it to Laura Michelle. Your use of watercolor is unique. Your design quality is absolutely stunning. And the way you have presented your work is absolutely fabulous. So you know, it totally deserves Best in Show. I love what's happening on the surface. This is a fantastic painting.
Yeah, no, if you just saw it like this, you might say, why did they give that Best in Show? But if you see it in person, the way she mounted the Arches watercolor paper, I think it was Arches, whatever water, I think it was hot press, mounted on a panel, floating inside a floater frame with no glass over it. I think it really showed the potential of a new way of displaying watercolor. And then I don't know if it's possible to enlarge this at all for the audience to see it, but the wet into wet technique on the top. And then at the bottom, it looks like possibilities of alcohol or salt or something spattered in there. But a lot of times these sorts of things can become too techniquey. And when they're too techniquey, they lose their the beauty. But I think that this is an example of using those watercolor techniques in such a way that they become almost a tutorial. I mean, if you really look at the wet into wet at the top, and look at the way she's vignetted the entire puddle of water. It's almost like she dropped a wet into wet puddle with a design and then worked within that design and never violated what she had intended to do. It's just exquisite.
Thank you for that. I got all excited moving the painting around. I would like to welcome Laura to the stage. And congratulations to you. You didn't know what you were coming for. You knew you were coming for an award, but you didn't know what. No, just say no.
I've never entered a show that was a national show. I've only been in one show recently, and it was local.
Thank you Oh, thank you all for sticking around and hearing this. You don't know how much it means to the artist. Ken and Stephanie, we are so grateful to you. You have been so generous with your time and your talent. Thank you for being our jurors this year. I urge all of you to look for something that you would like to be your next art acquisition. I am here to sell it to you. Thank you all for being artists, art appreciators, and for making this go. And thank you so very much. We've got an organization in town called Friendship Bridge, and they volunteer in our town. They do wonderful things, projects for women, supporting women in Guatemala. Yes, did I get that right? Yeah. Yes. And say it again. Micro loans in Guatemala. And these women are so dedicated in their fundraising for other women, and they support this show every year with their time. They help with the food, they help with the drinks, and set up so many things to all of you. And thank you for being here.
I have a question for Arts Evergreen.
We can answer that question.
Do you do a printed catalog of the show?
We do have a print catalog. Those are for sale for $15. You can get them as of tomorrow morning. We will have an online shop available linked to our website, evergreenarts.org. You can order catalogs online. You can also buy pieces of artwork online. And for the artists, if your painting sells, I will mail you your complimentary copy of the catalog. If your painting doesn't sell, I will put your complimentary copy of the catalog in the shipping container when I ship your painting back to you.
Okay, so we will get a catalog then automatically when in our shipping. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
I hope I answered that question. It got loud in here, so I hope you could hear me.
Yes,
all right, we're gonna
thank
log off on our end, but feel free, you all have my email, so feel free to email me if you have other questions. Individuals who are on Zoom, feel free to reach out with questions. And thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
So much. Absolutely an education.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to stop this, then I can tell you.
I have a question for Ken and Stephanie.
Yes.
I love everything about the painting. I guess I don't understand the white space on the right-hand side of the best of show.
Are you able to see the original?
I'm gonna let that go.
No, I'm not.
If you see the original, you'll understand it.
It looks like just is it actually paper on the image, or is it a void on the white paper?
Can we make this smaller again? That's one of the reasons I wanted to mention that if you see it like this, you wouldn't understand how beautiful this piece is. But if you see it in person with the floater frame around it, it all makes sense. The use of negative shapes are just wonderful.
I love the wet into wet technique and the lines, the bronze lines going through it.
Who's speaking right now?
Judy.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's too bad you can't see the original, because then you would get a feeling for how nicely it's composed on the paper itself is actually white, so it looks a little tan here, but it's really bright white.
So is it a piece of paper, that white void, or is it just the white paper that has been not wet?
Exactly. It's wherever it's so white, it hasn't been wet.
Okay.
It's just a beautiful design, basically sitting on a piece of paper.
I love the dark wet into wet areas on that left side. I love that.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part. And like you said, the salt or at the bottom, works very well. It's not overdone.
It's also a large painting too, so that it actually has a lot to do with its overall impact.
Okay. I think it just doesn't pull off on the slide like
No.
it would. Yeah.
That's understandable.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Is there anybody else or I think we will say
We'll say goodbye.
we'll say goodbye then. Congratulations to everybody who's in the show, and we wish you all the best.
Oh, I missed it. Shoot. Oh, darn it. How do I get back in here? Let's see. Recorded. I missed it. How can I play it back?
Nice to meet you there. Thank you very much. No. Yes. You did a great job. Amazing. Good.
There's so many. Sometimes it's so amazing. What's out there? You can go inside our house, but there's a famous spot in the news for me. Even if he is here to be honest, and he does this sort of rage, breaking up, like chaos. She by somebody else and you and figure out yeah, kind of but I like I haven't what's the subject?
I don't want to mess with it. I just don't like your picture to have writing all over it. Your piece is a nice thing. I'll let you talk to me.
And I'm so
Right. Then I will take a